Hey guys, I'm Lyndon.
And I'm Angelica.
And we're Untying Knots. And on this episode 3, it's called Dating Knots.
I know.
We're going to get into our dating life today.
Yes. I'm so excited.
You're excited?
I am excited because there's a lot of good, bad dating stories I can tell
Let's
you.
get a little messy, a little controversial. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So on this episode, we really want to talk about the value of dating while you're married, the awkwardness of dating while you're still married.
Still married.
Right? And then some of the challenges, some of the successes of our dating life afterwards, and share some stories that you guys sent us on Instagram. So let's really get into it. So also too, dating after divorce can be awkward, but if you're going to glow up, then you have to show up, right?
Right. For
and
sure.
So we got to talk about how we show up in our dating, which makes a huge impact of what will transpire in the relationship. So what about you? Tell us a story from your dating life.
So I was with the same person for 10 years. So going into the dating life was a total 180, right? I knew I wanted to date a specific demographic.
What kind of demographic?
The Black demographic. So people ask me all this all the time, why I only date Black guys. For me, Black guys are the sexiest. I don't know why. I did not date one or marry one, but going into my dating life, I told myself I was going to date Black men only. Just, make it easier.
How's that been?
It's been great.
Black men don't cheat. That's what I heard.
I don't know about all that, but
Black men don't cheat.
But for me, it just seemed that it was very daunting, but I had to get out there, right? And I had to go on this first date. And I had to say the first date was not bad, but he did cocaine on the first night. So you know who you are.
So you were doing cocaine the first
I wasn't doing the cocaine,
but
but he was doing cocaine. And I was like, okay, cool. Maybe he's nervous. Maybe he's got to do his thing.
He's nervous.
But the crazy part about this, he was a high functioning professional and running a company, running a business. But, he was like going like this. But at one point, I think his nose started bleeding.
Boy, you just can't get away from cartel activity, can you?
I know. I'm telling you. And it was so funny because this was my first date. He was a very good looking guy and very successful. And, we had a vibe. We had seafood. We were at Crew with hookah, downtown vibes.
Okay.
It was all good.
Coke,
Yeah. But then he dropped the bomb on me and was like, I got 3 baby mamas from 3 one-night stands.
Sheesh.
And I was like, you trying to make me the 4th? Yeah. At that time, I was not fixed. So what?
So what happened?
Oh, I did not become the 4th baby mama. But he's still out there and he's still single.
Man, hey, that sounds like...
That was a great first date. I mean, it was like, hey, this is your first experience. Why not? This is what it's going to be like. So it was great. That was first date. And he's a little bit younger too. I want to say he was like 31.
So bring a little Coke on the first date.
Bring a little Coke on the first date, I guess. And the funny thing is, it's like, did he forget I was a Fed? Like,
I know, right? Like you could have a whole wire on you. Right. Like, bro, this is the government's thing.
Listening to my first story from the first episode, I think he was good. This is not that bad.
Okay. Hey, that's wild.
I know.
I have never brought any type of drugs on the first date.
You are the drug, Lyndon.
I am the drug. Come take a hit. That's hilarious. So,
and he owned a State Farm, by the way.
We'll look him up. We're going to look him up. We can find this out.
Right.
So obviously there's so much to dating, right? And I feel like after divorce, when I got into the dating world, it was such a shock because the last time I was single, I was like 21, 22.
Oh my God.
And the world was so different as far as like dating culture. And then fast forward 10 years and I'm in the dating scene again. And it was a completely different world. Like I feel like I did 10 years in penitentiary. And like before I went in, everybody's wearing like baggy clothes and FUBU and Rocawear. And then I come out and like niggas are wearing skinny jeans and Chelsea boots and have purses on. It was just like, what happened in 10 years? And I felt outdated.
Yeah.
When I first got on the dating scene, I felt like I wasn't caught up on like where you meet people, how you talk to people, views, values, perspectives. And then I'm living in Houston. Before I was dating in Indiana. So culturally, the dating pool is
totally
very different. Not just ethnically, but like the dating culture in a small Midwestern town is totally different than dating in the South in a mega city.
Yeah. Do you think that in the Midwest, dating is off the bat for marriage, not dating to get to know people, get to vibe with people?
No.
In the Midwest, it's like we get married.
No, me and the boys, we ran through our sets. Like, don't get it wrong. Okay. Girls are going everywhere.
Yeah.
But the difference is that I feel like back home, there is a priority and a true value to being married and having a family. And I feel like in the South, and not just in the South, but like women now in big cities, they like the idea of getting married and having a family, but the practicality and the intention of getting there is not in them. Versus at home, it's just like, that's what everybody does. You go to school, you get a degree, you get a job, you marry your sweetheart, you have a couple babies with her, and
you live
that's your
happily
life.
ever after.
It's not like that in the big city. It's not like that.
The options are
You got to have a Benz, you got to have a Louis this, you got to have some designer, you need a mid-rise minimum, at least, but preferably a penthouse. You know, you got to get her a section, some bottles, pay for her friends.
Wow.
You know, you can't drive a Honda Accord. That's unacceptable.
Those are high expectations.
Don't have an Android. You cannot text a woman with an Android in today's world in Houston. Not acceptable.
Well, I think that was one of your red flags, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to get into that.
That's good.
So what about you? How has the experience of divorce and your past relationship, how has that affected the way you date now and your approach to dating?
That's a great question. So I don't know how many actually married people date because it's very different, right? Like for me, I felt the same way that you did. Like I felt like I had to bring it, you know, like makeup, hair, nails, all this eyebrows, lashes, they all had to be top notch because now you're competing with all the other single women out there, right? For the same males. Yeah. And in Houston, for those that don't know, there's a vast majority of single women, eligible women, and there's a very low number of single men. So we're all out there going for the same guys.
Well, because y'all all want the same guys that make $400,000 plus and are over 6 foot with a six pack.
Yes,
so
yes.
It's like 7 guys.
Not over 400,000. Mine has to be a millionaire. Okay, so if you're gonna hit me up in the comments,
so you gotta play for the Astros, the Rockets, the Texans, or the Dynamo.
No, you could be a businessman and make that type of money.
He probably don't have a 6 pack and he's not over 6 foot.
Yes, true. So you gotta, yeah, yes. So you almost have to, you know, give something up.
It's hard.
It is hard.
That's why y'all compete for this.
Because a man who's making that type of money doesn't have time to go to the gym. Sometimes.
I will argue, but I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Look, if you got money, you don't need the gym. Look, if you get money, you her type. Is it true?
I could never date somebody that just has this gut hanging over them. But I also make money. So there's a difference there. So
would you date Jeff Bezos?
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
He slid in your DMs.
No.
You like, ignore it. You gonna leave him on red?
Yes. I could tell. I mean, the story about the 86-year-old millionaire.
What?
That was going to take care of me.
What?
Did we talk? Okay. You guys want to hear a story? Okay. I was pumping gas, you know, with my little shorts, just hanging out, all sweaty after the gym. And this phantom, blue and white phantom, rolls up to the, what was it, Chevron. And this little old man comes out and he's just like, I mean, he must have been like 86. And he looks at me and he said, I'm going to give you a proposition. And I was like, okay. And he said, if you come with me, if you become mine, I will take care of you, your kids, put you in a house, buy you a G-Wagon, but you only have to do 2 things for me. And I said, what do I got to do? He said, you got to dance for me in lingerie every single day. Seems easy enough. And then 2, you have to go to Olive Garden with me 1 time a week.
Olive Garden?
This man in this phantom just wanted to eat free breadsticks. That's all he wanted with the presence of me. I declined. But I did tell the story to all my friends, including my pregnant friend with her fourth child, married for 20 years. And she said, I would have done it.
Is that because you had a different intentionality? Like you wanted like substance in a relationship? And
yes, I want substance in a relationship. And also, I don't want no limp dick. I don't want no saggy balls. Like, that's not my thing.
He probably had 3 years left at best.
Yes, but I also not going to bring my kids into that type of life. And I have my own bag. So really getting taken care of like that really wasn't as exciting for me. Now, if he would have been, hot and look good, that would be a totally different story. But I know a lot of women would have jumped on that opportunity. But I didn't see it exciting for me. I wasn't excited about it. I was like, how about you help me build this million? Like,
sugar mamas excite me.
Let's talk about that.
Hey. So so we were talking about this pre-show, right? The awkwardness of dating. And we're talking about dating while still married.
Yes.
So this isn't like dating while married in the sense of you're
cheating
in the middle of the relationship.
Yeah.
This is you're going through the divorce proceedings. Technically and legally, the marriage still exists, but emotionally, there's been a disconnect.
You're detached.
You've moved on from that
sure.
relationship. That's the part of dating while married we're talking about, okay? We're not condoning infidelity, but do what you want. So did you date while still married, going through your divorce process?
I did, for sure.
Why did you? What was your thought process at the time?
I just wanted to get back out there. I wanted to see what was out there. And we weren't really dating. When you're married and you have kids, there was no date nights. We were in survival mode. We had 2 kids under 3. So we were just, we were literally living as roommates, cooking dinner, eating dinner. We would do this, pick up kids. So there was really no connection there anymore. So really the idea of connection or wanting to be with somebody in a different light, like getting to know somebody from day one was very exciting.
Yeah.
So, and just seeing what was out there, because now I was going for a different type of man. You know what I mean?
What was your ex-husband's response to it? Did he know that you were doing? Did you guys talk about this?
Oh my God, this was the best response. Okay. So he had a app already up. He already had a profile up and he saw me on the same app with a profile.
He swiped right to match you or no?
Hell no. But I remember he made a comment. We were just out with the kids one day and he's like, hey, I'm glad we're on the same page about this. He's like, I saw your profile. And I was like, I saw yours too. But it worked. Awkward. It worked out because we met on an app. We met on Match.com. So I think he knew I was out there. I knew he was out there. And I had no problem with it because I'm the one who filed. But I know for him, it was a very difficult transition to be like, my wife is out there, like ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah. That's kind of a wild reality to feel. I remember me and my ex-wife, we had a conversation about it because I'm a prepared person. And I didn't just want to jump into a single lifestyle. So before we were divorced, we had a weekend arrangement. We're like, this weekend, she was covering the kids, even though we lived together in the same house.
Yeah, we did the same thing.
I had my weekend. And you can go do whatever you want.
I think it's key.
You didn't have to check in with each other.
Right.
You didn't have to, text back or let me know when you're safe. You're on your own. I'm just here with the kids.
How was that? It was hard, right?
Okay, so the catalyst for that was a conversation we had. So we were going through divorce care counseling, and I was trying to reconcile our marriage, but she was checked out. So I was trying to save something that was dead. And we got into an argument doing the homework, and I remember she spazzed out on me. And she's like, I just can't wait to get out there and be with other men. You don't even fuck me good. And I was like, I wasn't mad that she said she wanted to be with other men.
You were mad about the fucking part. I was mad
she said that I didn't do it good. I'm like, that's a bold statement, okay? I've been with some people and nobody's ever told me that.
It was emotion. She was emotionally checked out.
Yeah, she was trying to stab me where it hurts.
Of course.
So I'm like, well, I need to verify if this data is true. Maybe I lost a step in my game and I'm not aware. So I was like, I got to hit the streets. I got to find out if she's telling the truth or not. Maybe I'm not what I used to be.
The consensus?
Yes. So I hit the streets.
Okay.
And the streets told me I'm valid. And I'm like, she's a liar.
There was no problem with that stroke.
She's a liar. I'm fully functioning. Like they said,
she was emotionally checked out.
Yeah, she was. And I made like a Google form. And so those girls I met back then, I would send on the Google form after we hook up and have them fill it out. So I got real-time data. Like,
wow.
I know.
They filled it out?
Yeah, they thought it was funny. It's like a funny, like cute little thing that nobody ever does.
So tell me about that. How did you even present that?
I was just like afterwards.
From 1 to 10, how was the dick?
Like, being funny, I was like, I want you to fill out this form. Be honest, but it's just lighthearted humor. And they like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. It's like, what's your name? How do we meet? How was the date?
How was the D?
Did you want to hit before? When did you know you wanted to have sex? How was it? What was the best part? Anything bad, or could I improve on it?
Wow. That's pretty good, actually.
They thought it was funny.
Yeah. Because nobody ever asks you that.
Nobody does.
Yeah. Everybody feels like their dick is amazing.
Hey, I got real data.
Yeah. And then you're down there, you're like, this is it.
So, yeah, that was kind of the catalyst for us having our weekend transitions. But I remember going through divorce care counseling, and the counselors were upset that I was dating while still married. They're like, you're cheating on your wife. But that wasn't my perspective. My perspective was our marriage is dead.
Your marriage is over, and there's
it's on life support, right?
Well, not just that, but there was a conversation had, an understanding and an arrangement in place.
Yes. Now, the understanding wasn't, hey, you can go be with other people. We didn't communicate that part. But I didn't care. But
whatever you do in your own time is your own time.
Listen, I didn't care what she did with who. I wasn't thinking about that. That's your situation. So don't worry about what I'm doing on my weekends. I'm out here getting data. I got work to do. I got a research project.
Right.
Okay.
I got to figure out if this is true or not.
So
that's good.
That's kind of what we went through. And like I said, my perspective was my marriage was dead. It was just on life support. And as soon as we pull the plug, it's a flat line.
Right.
And
divorce proceedings take time.
It does. And the legal process was the plug keeping the marriage technically and legally alive.
Technically, legally,
but emotionally, neither one of us were part of that marriage. Now, we were still co-parenting well. We had a good synergy there despite our issues personally with each other and the emotions we were dealing with. But we're always there for our kids. And then we were trying to transition to living separate lives. That's where we were.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult. So for those people that are out there contemplating divorce, we did the same exact thing where we started giving each other weekends off to really not just to really understand it, but how it would be to be with the kids by yourself with no help, which that was a big reality check for me. Is, first you have two parents. So one parent, you got, one parent per kid, but now it's like one parent per two kids.
Yeah.
And I was very afraid. Like I had never been used to like going out with the kids or being by myself with the kids. So that was like a big kind of eye opener for me.
Imagine for how it is for men who aren't very nurturing in spirit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Get into mom mode as a guy. The responsibility and giving baths, keeping up with their clothes, routines, homework, practices.
I can imagine it being hard. And then you get into your groove and then you're like, I can do this. I got this. Yeah. And then next thing you know, you're on a flight with two kids.
Oh my goodness. Traveling with kids.
Yeah.
By yourself.
Yeah.
I thought about bringing my ex-wife with me just to help me the first time.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a lot. So I thought the transition was good. It was necessary to help us find our balance.
Right.
With going into our new life. Instead of just waking up one day like, all right, marriage is over. Go to your place. I got my place. And then you're trying to figure that stuff out on the go. By the time everything was done, we had already found the rhythm.
Right.
I thought that was good.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. So what have been some of the biggest challenges you faced in dating?
So for me, keep in mind, I'm in my 40s. I'm a single mom. Mm-hmm. I ended up facing a lot of challenges when it was the younger guys that wanted to date me that weren't married and had no kids. They didn't really understand that you can't just hit me up and be like, hey, come over, or hey, let's go eat some tacos. Like, you got to give me a little heads up. I got to get a sitter. I got to get the kids to bed. I got to do baths. And unfortunately, a lot of guys that aren't parents or that are younger, they don't understand that. Mm. They can't see that. And a lot of them do like dating single moms. And I think it's because of what you said. We come from a very different perspective of nurturing, and we take care of our kids.
Yeah.
We're really not out in the streets like that because we don't really have time for it.
Yeah.
And so if we're dating, it's because we really like you and because we really want something, you know? And so, yeah, that was one of the challenges where I had to be like, hey, you can't just hit me up. Like, you got to give me a heads up and let me know.
You got to plan it out a month and ahead.
You got to plan it out a month and ahead because every other weekend I have the kids. So that's the other thing too.
How young is too young for you?
So, man, now my specific rule is nobody under 35.
Under 35?
Yeah.
35 is not even young.
I know, but I'm 41 and you would think by 35 you got to figure it out.
So wait, a guy that's 30?
No, God, no,
he doesn't
I can't.
qualify?
No, I can't do it.
Don't even apply.
Nope. Sorry. Can't do it. Look, at one point I was thinking like nobody under 40, but then a lot of 40-year-olds don't look good.
So you rather take a 51-year-old over a 31-year-old?
If he looks good, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You know, he's got the gray hair and the six pack. Hell yeah.
Angelica, I don't know how many 51-year-olds have a six pack. I'm a six pack king.
They're out there.
I would be surprised if I got it at 51. I should, but I wouldn't be surprised. That's crazy.
Are you not going to have a six pack when you're 51?
No, I should, just because of compound interest in my work. And I'll continue to work out, but
right.
Most 50-year-old men.
I haven't dated a 51-year-old, so yeah, they haven't came by.
Okay. So 35.
I think the oldest was 48.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's a lifestyle?
But them 20-year-olds be coming at this like crazy, especially at Alpha Land.
So is it life experience? Is that the challenge? Like certain men that are younger don't have this
For sure life experience. Or they just can't wrap their mind around obviously everything that's going on or everything that I have going on.
Yeah.
Or a lot of times I feel like they see me as a come up.
I could see that.
And I can't have that. I got 2 kids. I don't want a third.
I feel like a challenge that I've had is dating as a single dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of women want a guy to be a good dad, but don't understand the work that it takes to be a good dad.
Especially if you're dating a woman with no kids.
For sure.
Yeah.
But the expectation is that you're just available or you'll set your kids aside to go do something with them. Ooh. So like I don't have a babysitter because when I have my kids, I'm with my kids. I'm not going to dump my kids and go do my life. So a lot of women had a hard time with the fact that I had my kids this weekend and I'm with them and I didn't want to find a sitter so I can go on a date.
And then if you start dating an insecure woman, then she starts thinking that you're using your kids to be out with somebody else.
Sure. But I don't even touch insecure women. Don't even touch them.
But you don't know until like later on, right? Because they could be in their best behavior on their first date.
But the women who don't understand that are typically the women who don't have kids themselves.
Right.
Women who have kids, they understand, hey, I'm on dad duty, or hey, I got to go do this or that. Or things come up. Maybe we planned a date, but something came up and I got to be there for my kids.
Right. Somebody got sick or somebody couldn't pick up. Yeah, I agree.
We have such a low expectation for fathers. And then translating.
Yeah, and you're a very active father. You are not a weekend dad.
No. I try to really be there for real. So that was something I wasn't expecting. Is that like I feel like you don't respect me as a dad. Is how I feel. Like you don't respect my position.
That's big.
Yeah. So that's something else. So okay, have you found that your past experiences have influenced the type of partner that you now desire?
Yes. I mean, aesthetics, let's not get into that, right? But aesthetically, yes. And I say this a lot, but I was in a relationship where it was 50-50. So I was never a stay-home mom. Mm-hmm. I never had him pay for everything. We were always 50-50. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what it's like being in a relationship where the male figure is the actual provider and protector. I don't know what that means. So going out into the world of dating, I came with that perception that I can handle all my finances and I would pay for everything, right? So I think that then we get into the feminine, masculine energy, right? Because I was somebody who is very high producing and very, I would say, doing things that a lot of women aren't used to doing, paying bills, paying mortgage, buying cars, all that stuff. So yeah, that was a big thing for me, is trying to find somebody that didn't want to split stuff.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm going to pay for every time I invite you out, I'm going to pay for it.
Yeah.
But then I was kind of like the person was like, well, I want to give to you too. So how can I pour into you? So that was a big thing.
That is.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's easier to come by somebody with that personality type?
Yes. I mean, I've had both experiences.
For sure. Where
I had somebody that's like, I'm always going to pay. You never have to worry about anything. But then things go left and then they throw it in your face where it's like, I paid for everything. And I'm like, because you wanted to, But I think we have to be very cognizant of the roles, right, that you're playing. Because I don't have a problem paying for you if we go out and I pay for you. That's not a problem for me, but there might be a problem for other women.
Yeah.
So I guess expectations, right, need to be kind of discussed.
For sure.
Yeah.
So expectations is a good one.
Yeah.
You sent me this post on Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was so good. So I want to talk about this really quick. And in the post, it says, before you get married, discuss these things.
Mm-hmm.
It says bills, credit, debt, career, religion, finance, dreams, political views, parenting styles, family influence, childhood traumas, sexual expectations, family health history, interesting, partner expectations, to your point, and beliefs to be instilled in your kids.
That's a great list.
Love alone is not enough. That's what it says.
Right.
So you mentioned having expectations. Let's talk about a couple of these, right? I think a big one that is often overlooked is family history. This says family health history, but I think
/ childhood trauma.
Yes. The context that a person comes from, the family they come from, the relationships with those family members is so important. It means everything. What do you think about that?
For sure. I mean, in my relationship, just in mine, we never spoke about childhood trauma. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I wrote a whole book about my childhood trauma, but he never told me any of his childhood trauma. Now, if he did tell me his childhood trauma, I wouldn't have married him. Yeah. Point blank. And a lot of the reason why he did not tell me was because he wanted me to marry him. Yeah. So yes, it's huge because his childhood trauma apparently ended up being the end of our marriage. Yeah. So yeah, that would have been a big one. And also you need to know from what operating systems or defense mechanisms they're operating from, because of what happened to them in their childhood. So if you're not healed from childhood trauma, you're just dragging that into any relationship that you have, including your marriage.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't even recognize my own childhood traumas that I was bringing to the relationship and how those would pour out and negatively impact our relationship. And of course, we never talked about it. So I feel like that's one of the things that is so important is you can't pay enough attention to the relationship somebody has with their family and what they went through growing up. Another one that's important is sexual expectations.
Yes, that's a big one.
That is huge. That is huge.
Now, do you think, I don't know about your experience, but when the ink dried, did the sex dry?
No. We never had a sex issue in our marriage. Okay. That was never an issue.
But was it like always there? Like, was it, you guys are having it consistently?
We had like a rule in our marriage. It was called the convenience store rule, which was it's open 24/7.
Like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, like whenever you need it, it's available to you. Now, we could tell each other no, like, she just had a baby a few months ago and transitioning. She's tired. Like, I get that. But by and large, we didn't tell each other no. You can always get what you want when you want. It's a convenience.
It's a good rule.
Yeah, that's how we always operated through the end. So
yeah, because I think a lot of marriages and relationships go through that phase where it's like you're fucking all the time, and then you get married and it's like once a month. I think then it turns into once every 3 months.
I think the hard part is compromising or giving up things that you like sexually because your partner's not into it. And then maybe you feel like a part of yourself is changing, or you can't express yourself, or you're not receiving love in a way.
Yeah, that's a huge one, because if you didn't experiment a certain way when you were dating or when you were engaged, then how do you translate that into your marriage? Yeah. So yeah, interesting.
So one more, the last one I wanted to get to on here, parenting style. I feel like that's one of
That's
those things.
huge. Spanking or
well.
not to spank.
For
Yelling
sure.
or not to yell.
Mindset. Like, what mindset do you put in your kids?
Right.
All types of things.
I can share one that I hated.
What's that?
So Ray never cried
Okay.
and never wanted to express his emotions because he was taught that men don't cry.
Okay.
So when our son wanted to cry, he would tell him the same thing. Don't cry. Men don't cry. And so there was resistance there from me because I was like, cry it out. Go ahead. Cry it out. Let it be. You know, crying is a form of healing. And he was totally against it. So
I think that promotes like toxic masculinity, right?
right.
And as a guy, especially in communities of color, we're taught that like men are not allowed to express
Right.
emotion, you're not allowed to cry. My dad
Right.
would tell me that all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
And then I'm 30 years old and I want to cry and then I can't express that emotion. And I'm like fucked up. And then it's like, I don't know what to do.
Right. Yeah, that's a big one that I had seen. Or you got to work hard. You got to work hard to make money.
Or I would see my son cry and it would come out of me. I'm like, wait, like toughen up. What you crying for?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait. Don't do that.
Go ahead, cry.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Now I let him cry. Like, it's okay. And I'll like rub his back, give him a hug.
Yeah, because it's an emotion.
Validate, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you get to pick from all these emotions, happiness, sadness, fear. You get to pick from these emotions and you get to be in these emotions and then we can talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of, you can't pick that emotion, you got to pick this one.
For sure.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
That's really good. And there's so many more. Go to our page if you guys want to see the full list, but there's so many good things to talk about before. And then here's another question I have about dating, right?
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to others navigating dating after a divorce for their glow up? So somebody wants to glow up. They want to emerge a new person after their marriage. What advice would you give to them to navigate the dating scene?
I would say really heal from the relationship and really get to know yourself as a singular person first. Who you are, what you like, what you want. And I think in that process of learning who you are, because I remember coming out of my marriage being like, what kind of music do you even want to listen to?
Mm-hmm.
You know, or how do I want to dress? Or who do I want to be? Because you are now you're now single. You're now being by yourself. And now you're going back into the dating field. So I would say really work on yourself, who you want to be as a single person, and how do you want to show up in these new relationships, and just being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
So that you don't bring the same exact messiness
For sure.
or the same exact mindset from your last relationship into a new relationship.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. You can't have the same mindset and be the same person and expect different results just because you're going to be with somebody different.
Right. And another thing is you have to be comfortable with being by yourself, because there's a lot of people that will jump into another exclusive relationship because of fear of being alone.
Yeah.
Because you haven't been alone for 10 years, whatever time that you haven't been alone. I think is very important.
Yeah.
You know, learn to vibe on your own and be by yourself and really ask yourself what you want in a partner.
You have to be your favorite vibe.
Yeah.
Yourself, you know? So I think for guys, the advice that I would give to navigate dating for a glow up would be this. Number one is you have to have a plan for financial recovery. Divorce takes a lot out of you emotionally, but also financially. In most cases for men more than women.
Yeah.
There's a transition for both, but it's different for a guy, I feel like. So you need to recover financially because honestly, you hurt type if you get money. Secondly is you need to get your mentals in check. A huge proponent of going to therapy and having a counselor.
You might have to do that again, right?
And talking to somebody to basically deal with the trauma you went through and work on growing to be a better person.
Yeah.
Right. And therapy is a great place for that. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. It doesn't mean that you're mentally ill or anything like that. It's taking care of your mind. The third thing is get in the gym. You got to hit the gym.
You look good. You feel good.
Yes. 100%. 100%. Whether that's like me, where I was a smaller guy and I put on muscle and put on mass, or you're a bigger guy and you want to lose all the stress weight. Either way it goes, like build the body, take care of yourself, not just to be like, look good for women, but like you
look
said,
good for
you
yourself.
Look good, you feel good, you'll be a better person. So I feel like those are like so important. Lastly, avoid dating apps.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Dating apps.
Okay.
I feel, okay, it's an easy way to meet people, right?
It's a very easy way.
It's
like
convenient,
it's like online shopping.
Nothing against it, right? But dating apps are so unnatural.
Let's talk about that. Let's
so
talk about
unnatural.
Let's get into that. I think that's really good because everybody's on dating apps because it's readily available
Of course,
to
I get
see
it.
a lot of people at your fingertips, right?
Listen, I've been on Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, terrible, Plenty of Fish. So this is the thing I don't like about dating apps. They're unnatural and inorganic because oftentimes you're taking a backwards approach to the relationship.
Right.
So I say this all the time. When you meet a woman on Hinge, you like her, talk to her, you send that corny first message off her prompt, right? And then you're in conversation. Somewhere in that first conversation you're having, she's going to ask you, what are your intentions?
Yeah.
I hate that question. It triggers me. Don't ask me what my intentions are.
I don't know you.
I don't know you. Like,
Right.
I don't know what my intentions are because I don't know what our connection is. Until I know what connection we have, then I can let you know what the intentions with this connection would be.
Right.
But I feel like a lot of times women have the idea of, all right, I'm looking for a husband. So you're filtering every guy you meet as a potential husband. And you're going to throw away good men. That could be a good business partner, a good friend, a connection for something else down the road. Or maybe he could be a husband if you gave him time and you guys cultivated.
Right. That's valid.
Right? But just because right now it's not looking like it,
On paper.
you throw it away.
Oh.
Instead of saying, okay, I would desire to have a husband or a wife, whatever, but I'm just going to get to know this person. And if there's continuous signs where you can build and progress, then you work closer to that
Right.
end goal. But if not, you understand what it is and
Yeah.
you let it be.
And
what
that's
it's meant to
valid
be.
because that same girl you could meet at the line at Target and she would not be asking you what your intentions are.
You meet a woman out at a bar, at a club, at Target, wherever you're at Ulta, the mall. She's never going to ask you what's your
What are your
intentions.
intentions?
She'll never ask it. It'll never come up in conversation. And guess what? You'll get her number, you'll text her, you'll plan a date, and you'll go on, and that never comes up because you took a forward approach to the relationship instead of working backwards.
Right.
Even though in her mind, she's like, hey, I would like to meet a husband. That's not involved
Mm-hmm.
in the initial interaction.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
And maybe giving somebody that is all up on the apps a different perspective.
Listen, I feel like you just got to talk to women. Like when you see a beautiful woman or somebody you're attracted to, and women should shoot their shot too, 100%.
For sure.
Women have a higher probability of scoring when they shoot than guys do. 100%.
I agree.
100%. But you just got to get over that fear of rejection because you only have something to gain. But we could talk about that later.
Right.
I could share some of my plays. I got a few plays that are like guaranteed. Guaranteed. I love it. I love it. Look, we had, before we wrap this up, we had you guys send in some dating stories, some questions. We got some funny comments. So I wanted to share what people sent us from Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a story. I'm not going to say who it is. It says, wife, 31 female, doesn't want me. He's a 29-year-old male. Won't let me dress up as Joe Burrow when we are intimate. So Joe Burrow is a quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. She won't let me dress up as Joe Burrow when we are intimate. Little backstory. My wife and I have been together for 8 years, married for 4, and our sex life has always been good, but recently has gone stagnant. We have been in the process of trying to spice things up over the past few months, and in the midst of that, she happens to buy me a Joe Burrow jersey. So I took that as a hint. I already have blonde hair, so I slicked it back and shaved my beard, threw on the jersey and my full-size Bengals replica helmet, and got ready to go. I even asked her to call me Joe Burr. She hasn't talked to me in 3 days. How can I save my marriage?
Wow.
Update, wife backs out of Joe Burrow's sexual role play, now won't talk to me.
Wow.
What's your reaction to that?
So my reaction is, I get the guy, poor guy, right? But why did you buy him the jersey? Because that was an unspoken assumption. So assumptions is the lowest form of knowledge. So
Okay.
never assume, always ask. That's always going to be my number one advice to people that like to assume shit. Because assumptions will get you in trouble.
Look, I feel like you got to have fun with a situation like
Oh,
that.
I would be down for it, but something about it is just not flying for her.
Joe Burrow's a quarterback, right? Which means he's under center. She needs to play. He should buy her a center jersey so she could just be bent over and he be behind her. That's what you do with that one.
Okay.
You gotta have a little role play.
Right, but she's not in, but the fact that she bought him the jersey, that could have kind of switched it up there for me as well.
Maybe take the helmet off when you're intimate. Just leave the jersey on, but take the helmet off.
I mean, I'll grab onto the helmet. I mean, it could all be
Give
fun.
her the helmet.
Right.
Give her the
it could all be
helmet.
fun and games, but maybe she's just not into it.
She might not be.
She's not
Role
into
playing's
it.
not for everybody.
It's not.
But it could be fun.
It could.
If she's not into it, maybe figure out what she's into, and then work from there. So that was interesting. All right, we got some more from Instagram. All right, somebody sent me this anonymously.
Okay.
They said, I have a crush on you, but don't have the courage to tell you.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know who that is. I'm happy that you have a crush on me. I don't blame you.
And thank you.
Somebody else said to me, they said, my boyfriend likes you, won't stop talking about you.
So he's gay?
It sounds like he wants to have a threesome.
So he's gay. I mean, again, assuming that he's gay.
I don't think he's gay.
Or maybe he's just having a man crush a little bit.
My boyfriend, I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, my boyfriend likes me. He can't stop talking about you. I don't know.
I don't know what that
sounds
means,
like he wants to bend you over.
Stop. No Diddy. No Diddy. This is what I said. Your sense of humor cracks me up. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I like to think I'm a funny guy. Mm-hmm. Did anybody send anything to you?
Yes.
Do you have anything?
So I have something. This is a little crazy, but we're gonna go for it. So, 45-year-old male, married for 10 years with his wife.
Okay.
They went through a rough patch.
Okay.
She's 35, but my wife came home one day full of another man's cum. And she went into the bathroom to douche. So for those that don't know what that means, it's like clean it out. So then he said, I knew that she had fucked somebody else, but why hide it? Just come forward and say it. Because she locked the door for the bathroom and was in there.
There's no saving that.
Like you could hear her clean that shit out.
There's no.
So what advice would you give him?
Leave.
Yeah.
Abort mission
And leave.
There's no coming back from that. She came back
filled some other man's
and then douched
juices.
it out.
And then douched it out in
front of him.
That's in the bathroom.
Disrespectful.
Yeah.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah, it's very disrespectful. But what if you had some type of arrangement? Then it wouldn't have been a problem.
What do you mean?
Like if they were in an open marriage.
But that's not their situation.
That's not the situation. No, not at all.
Well, open marriage is different context.
Right.
There's different dynamics and understandings. But in this situation, she got to go.
Right. Yeah.
She got to go. She's for the streets.
Because what if it was the opposite way? Right?
What do you mean? He came back with cum in his butthole? What do you mean the opposite way?
Like if it was the opposite way for her, like how would she feel?
He can't come back full of cum.
That's what I'm saying. Like let's switch it up. And she was at home with the kids, and then he came home and he had just gotten it in. Like she wouldn't have liked that either.
She would never know.
Yes, true. True. But just the simple fact that is it a disrespectful thing? I would say, right? There's no respect left. Like, hey, I came home and I'm just going to clean myself out.
We would be divorced immediately. She don't respect you. Like, that's the problem.
Right.
She doesn't respect you enough, which is why she went and had this situation with somebody else.
Encounter.
And she definitely doesn't respect you to douche out the semen in front of you. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. Couldn't be me.
Right.
Couldn't be me. I know that.
Yeah. That was a good one, though.
Gotta pray for that boy.
Yeah,
Pray
for sure.
That man. This is a toughie. It's a toughie. Couldn't be me. Well,
okay, last thing before we close it out.
Okay.
Worst dating story, because you have a good one.
I have a good one. I don't have too many bad dates. I never had bad dates like that. But one time on a dating app, I met somebody and she was cute on the profile, right? And so in person, it was not that. It was not that. And I don't know what filter she used, but she was
a very strong one.
She went from a solid 8.5 to like a generous 4.1.
Ooh.
So, okay, so I wasn't attracted to
D-grade.
her. I had an expectation for her looks. She didn't meet the expectation. So then we get there. We just did like a coffee date or whatever. And because I was turned off by her, I wasn't really like engaging or giving a date energy like that. But she was full throttle. She was on a mission. And through the course of the date, like the roles reversed, where like she was pursuing me, like she was trying to smash. Like she was like eager. She was like rubbing on my leg and stuff. She paid for the meal. So I felt like a chick on a date.
Wow.
Like, oh my gosh. So I got catfished on it. And
I don't understand why people think that that's okay. Like, I'm gonna see you. You don't look like
she was
your
a
picture.
different person. She just didn't look how she looked.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, this was like early in my day, like right after my divorce, or probably still in the mix of it. And
you're still getting your dating
again,
legs.
I had to get updated.
Right.
So I didn't realize that like a woman's gonna lead with her strongest card on the profile. If it's the face card, she's gonna lead with her face. If it's her body, her booty, whatever, she's gonna lead with that.
Right.
When they're hiding the body, it's for a reason. Or when they hit certain angles, like the picture is like this top down angle right here, so it looks like here.
Right.
It's because it's making the lower body look thinner or smaller than what it is.
Right.
I learned not to go for those type of pictures, and don't go for women that have a bunch of filters.
Yeah.
They're hiding something. Okay. So that was the problem. So then she just wasn't cute. She was trying to smash. I wasn't interested in smashing. She paid for the date. I was just like, dang, she's such a manly nigga. Like, this is still too much. I was like, I never felt this before. And the next day, she was
so
like,
how did the day end? You were like, I gotta go.
Yeah. I was just like, hey, it was like an hour.
Did she try to kiss you?
She walked me to my car.
Oh, okay.
Like a man.
Like a man.
Like a real man should.
Like a real man should. Did she open the door for you?
No, she didn't. So the day ended. I go home. She texts me that night, was like, hey, I'm at home by myself. Do you want to come over? I said, no, I'm going to sleep. I was like, I'm cool. And then the next day she texted me. She was like, hey, I'm kind of feeling like you're not really interested in me. Can you just confirm so I know like where we're going? I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not interested in you. Don't ever talk to me again.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Let it go.
At least you guys were, she didn't ghost you. You didn't ghost her.
No. It was just like, I just felt like it was a setup. It was a setup.
Yeah.
At least I didn't pay for it.
Yeah. You got a free meal and she walked you to your car.
That was a bad.
Like a manly man.
That was a bad one.
Yeah. Cool. Next time we'll be talking about ghosting because ghosting is a big one.
Ghosting is a thing. We could talk about that one too.
Yeah.
We got a lot more to talk about with dating.
For sure.
So I hope you guys enjoy this one. I hope what you get out of this is that dating is a lot. And in today's culture, it could be very complex. And I think the best thing that you can always do when dating after divorce is one, work on yourself. Not for somebody else, but for yourself. And number two, simplify dating. It doesn't have to be this back and forth, reply when you only text me, wait an hour so I don't seem too eager. Be natural. Be natural in how you meet people, how you interact with people. And that being organic is going to take you a lot further than trying to force something.
And don't have expectations because when you have expectations, you get hurt. So just have fun.
Have fun, enjoy it, make it simple, date a lot.
Right. See what's out there.
Love it. All right. Hit us on Instagram. Send us more of your questions, more of your stories. We're always wanting to feature you guys on here. We love the interaction and engagement, and be sure to follow us on all of the social profiles.
So at Untying Knots Pod.
And check out Angelica's book.
Oh, yeah.
Through These Brown Eyes. Great read.